છે ને જો આજે ફરીથી તમને દેખાય કે વિક્સ ઘટી ગયું છે, પુટ ને કોલ બંને બાજુમાં આ રેન્જને ધ્યાનમાં રાખતા વધુ ઓપ્શન રાઇટિંગ થઈ રહી છે, તો મને કોઈ સરપ્રાઇઝ નહીં થાય. ને હવે આજે ECBની બેઠક ઉપર પણ વૈશ્વિક બજારની ફોકસ છે. સાથે જ હિલેરી ક્લિન્ટન ને ડોનાલ્ડ ટ્રમ્પ વચ્ચે ત્રીજી ડિબેટ આજે પૂરી થઈ છે. વધુ ચર્ચા કરવા આપણી સાથે જોડાઈ રહ્યા છે XM.com ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયાના CEO પીટર મેકવાયર. Peter, good morning.
Good morning, Pradeep.
So, what are global markets predicting today in terms of the outcome of US presidential election? Are we pretty much sure that Hillary is going to win? No doubts.
Well, at the present time, I think if you're a betting man, you'd have to say that yes, there's a very large chance that Hillary will get over the line. Though I don't think Donald Trump's going to stop campaigning all the way through and probably after the election. That's just the nature of the beast and the style of person that he is. What will it do for US politics if Hillary wins? I think that it'll probably continue. There's been a fairly good reporting season so far. We've got a lot of companies still to report, but I think that overall groundswell will continue, and where it's looking at the moment, there seems to be a very, very strong push to the upside for, US stocks.
Okay. But US stocks are already quoting at historically high valuations.
Yes.
Contrary to, a bullish view if Hillary comes, actually, I believe a lot of traders actually think that market is probably holding on and waiting for the election to get over, and after that we'll probably see a significant correction.
Well, there could well be. I mean, look, you'd have to be, again, a betting person to understand. It's a month-by-month or a week-by-week proposition. But at the moment, there seems to be a very strong uptick and a very strong swell to push this further forward. The market is still a living, breathing organism. I look at it, and you've got buyers and sellers.
So, but how long can you, really defy fundamentals? I mean,
well, that's right.
How do you justify these valuations?
It's very, very difficult to defy them. Where the market is at the moment, yes, a lot of traders are very sceptical, but there is also a momentum. And if these better than expected reporting, financials are looking strong, consumer discretionaries are okay, different sectors are doing quite well, then that may push it a little bit higher. But I think 17 is going to be a very interesting year from a trader's perspective, short and longer term. So we've just got to get over the next 3 to 4 weeks to get a clear understanding of actually who is the new president of the United States.
Okay, no, but I mean, presidential elections happen every 4 years. So
yes.
This is nothing new. But historically, have you ever seen Dow moving in 500 points range for close to a year? I mean, there is no volatility probably. The volatility is dead.
Well, exactly, but we haven't had quantitative easing quite like this period that Obama's lived through. And if you put your mind back to when he actually was first elected 8 years ago, the Dow was performing quite strongly. Then, of course, that it capitulated and collapsed to 650. I think the S&P was 660, and it's since gone, all the way through 2000. So who could have imagined that in 7 short years? But the quantitative easing is beyond, I think, any logical investor's, viewpoint. Have a look at, negative rates coming out of Germany, Japan, across Euro region. A lot of nations are having a lot of trouble at the moment as far as economic growth, and you've got others that are shooting the ball out of the park, for example, the United States.
So US has already tapered the quantitative easing, and now is it ECB's turn to kind of start, because we have got 6 months left. If you see the timeline they had given earlier is that they are going to continue with QE till March 17.
Till March, yes.
So we are getting very close to that period, and now there are talks that maybe even possibly in today's meeting itself there could be an indication about tapering.
Well, there could be. I think naturally Eurozone look for inflation. They want to see an inflationary target, and they've got their numbers and their mindset of what they want to achieve. With energy prices pushing up over the last couple of weeks, that could be a nice starter for them. It certainly is what a lot of the nations want to actually achieve, that $50 to $60 range, which in turn would probably push inflation up a little bit further and be a good sign for the Eurozone. But the other side, of course, is they've got to wait and see what happens as far as the US presidential election. There's also, I think, 17 is going to be an interesting point in time. What happens with Merkel? What happens as far as migration? Where are the number of other countries that are looking at similar mindsets as far as Brexit? So, I think watch this space. It's going to be a very interesting year. France, Germany, Italy, and so on.
Okay, so Europe is going to remain in focus, it seems. But you talked about crude. I mean, your prediction of $50 to $60 is what you look for in year 17. So this year we had $40 to $50 as you know, the most frequent range. Now it's shifting up by $10.
Well, I think that there's so many interesting components of the mix. We had that massive sell-off in February. We've seen a very strong move to the upside since then, through 30s, through the 40s, and now through 50. The volatility has been immense. If you look at the hedge funds, they had that fourth cycle in 2 years where they were looking at, you know, shorting the market, and they did extremely well out of it. Over the last, say, 3 to 4 months, we've seen very strong moves to the up and very strong moves to the downside, all happening normally you'd see over a 6 to 8 month period. We're seeing it in 3 to 4 weeks. So in turn, that creates so much confusion to the market. The meeting next month, and we all understand what happened in Algeria last month, where they tried to piecemeal a deal together, and of course with Russia and so on, they're all producing at record numbers and they all want higher crude prices. So what that leads us into Vienna next month, the 30th of November. I think that's going to be a crucial meeting. That coupled again with the US presidential election, what's happening in the ECB, dollar strength and so on, it's, in a lot of ways, it just creates, I think, more opportunity for traders to participate on big value swings. And I think that's going to be pretty much the case over the next couple of months.
But, so swings is fine. Volatility probably we are going to live with, but the average kind of, or the range kind of moves up. That's the base case you are working with, right?
Well, I think that you'd have to look at a $55 handle. I'm not sure whether you're going to take that out. Traditionally, you're going to see less consumption over the northern hemisphere winter. That's traditional. Seasonality plays a part. If we have a big drawdown, if we have geopolitical tensions, if something happens unforeseen in Mosul, if we don't get that's the first part. If you're looking at weather outages or what happens as far as the Gulf region or geopolitical, or of course a late issue as far as hurricanes, all these factors could greatly impact price. I'm also sure that if Hillary gets in, that will have an effect to the market, and an unknown like Trump getting in would again add another level of confusion to the market. So I think it's probably going to be a $45 to $55 trade. Hard to put a ceiling on it.
What's your call on dollar? Because dollar index is now moving towards triple digit once again.
Yes.
Do you see it going past 100?
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised. I think you'll probably take 100 out again just before the election, maybe a fraction after, but it's very hard. What impact does it have with new politicians coming in, and in turn who's going to sit in the White House? So that again plays an interesting part. If we do see a rate rise in December, that'll naturally push it up. You saw, I noticed yesterday, even Brazil, which is the first time in I think many years, have actually dropped rates from 14.25% to 14%. I mean, you know, you can't get your mind around 14% interest rates, but there are many countries in the world that keep on, dropping interest rates and trying to gain some form of stimulus, and you've got the states looking at raising.
Okay, one last question. You know, roughly 10 days from now, we have our festival of Deepavali, which is a new year for Indian markets as well.
Yes.
Now, most people buy gold on this occasion. Would you recommend buying gold?
Second largest consumer in the world, India. I don't think you're going to see a lot of currency move over the next probably matter of weeks or months. So I would say that there'd be a strong appetite at $12.50, $12.60, $12.70 US dollar terms. That's probably not a bad buy. If you're buying for the longer time, or you're looking at giving a gift, it's a different mindset.
Where do you see it, a year or 2 or 3 years down the line?
I think that if we continue to see weakness across the Eurozone and weakness across a lot of other mature markets, yet the US raises rates a couple of times and ratchets up, that's going to push the dollar stronger. I would have thought if you take out the geopolitical and the unknowns, and let's say Hillary's in, I'd say gold will probably trade that, you know, 1150 to 1250 range. Throw in some confusion in the market, and you can all of a sudden have a $1,400 or $1,500 handle because of unknowns. So that's probably not what our viewers want to hear as far as those big price disparities, but that's the reality of these markets. They're hugely volatile, and I think that will remain over the next couple of years.
Thanks, Peter, for taking time out
Thank
for
you
us.
for it.
Peter McGuire, અત્યારે જે રીતે એમને કીધું કે એમ લાગે છે કે કદાચ હિલેરી ક્લિન્ટન ના જીતવાની પૂરી સંભાવના છે અને માર્કેટ એને પોઝિટિવલી લેશે? કદાચ માર્કેટમાં એક પોઝિટિવ મોમેન્ટમ જોવા મળે જો પોલ પછી નવેમ્બર ફર્સ્ટ વીકમાં એકવાર પોલિંગ થઈ જાય અને ત્યારબાદ જો એવા વ્યૂઝ આવે કે કોઈ સર્વે આવે કે હિલેરી ક્લિન્ટન જીતી રહ્યા છે તો કદાચ તમને એક તેજી જોવા મળશે યુએસ માર્કેટની અંદર. પણ સાથે જ એમને ડોલરમાં પણ ખાસી સ્ટ્રેન્થ દેખાય છે અને ક્રૂડ પર એમની અપેક્ષા છે કે $50 થી $60 રેન્જ એની આપણે ચર્ચા કરી રહ્યા છે એ કદાચ આવતી દેખાશે. આજના બીજા બધા મુદ્દાઓ પર ચર્ચા કરીશું પણ અત્યારે એક નાનકડો વિરામ.